corn. You know, it's one of the most important crops on the entire planet, really a cornerstone of our food system. And for as long as we've been growing it, we've been searching for ways to make it better, stronger, and get more out of every acre.
But what if one of the biggest keys wasn't some complicated chemical, but something that comes from the soil itself? How can a natural organic fertilizer actually unlock a corn plant's own hidden power? Okay, let's dive into this and find out.
Today, we're going to break down the science behind a fertilizer called Potassium Humate. We're going to look at what it is, how it works, and the pretty remarkable data-proven effects it has on corn, all the way from a tiny little seedling to the final massive harvest.
So, first things first, let's get to the what. What exactly are we talking about when we say potassium humate? At its core, it's a super concentrated organic fertilizer. Now, its key ingredients are humic and fulvic acids. You can think of them as these natural superchargers that you'd find in really healthy soil. They're designed not just to feed the plant, but to make the soil it's growing in fundamentally healthier.
So this analysis here shows us exactly what's under the hood. You've got over 80% organic matter, which, is the foundation of any good soil. Then you get the stars of the show. Over 55% humic acid and 50% fulvic acid. Those are the main active ingredients doing the heavy lifting. On top of that, it's delivering over 12% potassium oxide, an absolutely essential nutrient. And here's the best part for farmers. It's completely water-soluble, which just makes it super easy to apply. So, we know what it is. Now let's get to the how. How does this stuff actually work? Well, the magic starts really early, when the plant is just a seedling, by giving a massive boost to the most important job a plant has, photosynthesis. And check this out. A fascinating study from 2024 gives us the hard data. Researchers took corn seedlings and applied different amounts of a potassium fulvic acid solution. And as you can see from these charts, the results were, well, incredibly clear. In each one of these graphs, one particular bar just towers over all the others. There's a definite sweet spot.
At that perfect dose of 100 milligrams per liter, the net photosynthesis rate, which is basically the plant's ability to turn sunlight into energy, shot up by nearly 38%. That is a huge boost in efficiency. And this right here explains why. Stomatal conductance. It's a fancy term for how well the little pores on the leaves open up to breathe in CO2. It increased by an incredible 93%. The plant was basically able to take much, much deeper breaths, fueling all that extra photosynthesis. So, the crucial takeaway here is that it's all about the dosage. The researchers found what you might call a Goldilocks effect. See, that 100 milligram dose was just right. But a much higher dose, like 500 milligrams, actually started to hurt growth. It just goes to show you more isn't always better. Getting it right is what counts. Okay, so we've totally supercharged the seedling. But what does that mean for the fully grown corn plant? Let's see how that initial boost really builds on itself to create a stronger, healthier, and way more productive plant. Well, the difference is pretty stark. Compared to the regular plants, the corn that got the treatment grew taller stalks, they had thicker stems, and they produced longer ears of corn. But here's the real kicker. Look at that last number. On average, each ear of corn had nearly 58 times more grains. That early energy advantage turns directly into a much more successful adult plant. Now, taller stalks and more grains are great, but for a farmer, it all comes down to one thing: the total yield at the end of the season. That is the ultimate bottom line. So, here's the big question. When you add all these little improvements together, the height, the thickness, the grain count, what does it all actually add up to in the final harvest? 24.79%. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's what it all leads to. A total yield increase of almost a quarter, a full 25% compared to the untreated group. All those small science-backed improvements at every single stage of growth, they result in a massive payoff when it's time to harvest. So let's wrap this all up with the key takeaway. What do we learn from all this data about getting the best results? It's simple, really. We know what it is, a natural organic fertilizer that's just packed with active acids and potassium. We've seen how it works. It turbocharges photosynthesis, but only at that perfect, optimal dose. And we absolutely know why it matters. You get bigger plants and a yield increase of nearly 25%. The essential lesson here is that using the correct concentration is the absolute key to unlocking all that potential. And the certificate of analysis and data we've explored today were provided by RAINDAO Technology. So if you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to them at their email or just visit their website and YouTube channel for more information.
You know, it really leaves us with a final thought. As we look for ways to feed a growing world more sustainably, could precisely targeted, high-performance organic fertilizers like this one be a crucial part of the answer? It's definitely something to think about.